Dronga Dubas, 5/7 to 1 lick.
Wink down.
That lick was called Dronga Dubas, and it features a 5/7 chord getting ready to resolve to a 1 minor chord. So what does that mean? So a 5/7 chord is a dominant 7th chord that is 5 notes, a perfect 5th to be more specific, away from another chord, and it resolves down that perfect 5th to that other chord. So for example, in the key of C major, you could have a G7 chord, which would be the 5/7 chord, which would resolve G, F, E, D, down 5 notes to C major. So that sounds like this. You've got that G7 chord resolving to C, and G is 5 notes from C, a perfect 5th from C. G, F, E, D, C. So the G7 really nicely resolves down to that 1, the relative 1. 5/7 moves down to 1. In this case, 5/7 is G and 1 is C. Now in this lick, we do the same thing. We take a G7 arpeggio, and we ultimately resolve it to C minor, which also works because C minor is a perfect 5th down from G7. That's the sound we end up with in this lick. But we take a few little detours before we get there. So first we spell out a G7 arpeggio. Then on the way down, we land on this D sharp, which is the sharp 5, and that gives it an interesting spice. So that's the sharp 5 of a G7 chord. Here's a normal G7 chord, and now here's a G7 chord with that sharp 5. And so we land there on the sharp 5 of G7, and then we go and do it again, G7 arpeggio, and we land on the regular 5 this time, D, which is the 5 of G7. And this last time we go to D, but then we jump straight to the C minor 7 arpeggio. So we get that C minor 7 chord there. So it's a G7 resolving to C minor 7. And that's the sound we're getting. So if you were to do this in another key, let's pick just a random note. How about E flat? So we're going to say E flat is the chord that we want to eventually get to. That's going to be our 1. So we need to find a 5/7 that's going to resolve to that 1. So what you do is you go up a perfect 5th from whatever 1 is and just make a dominant 7th chord. So E flat up a perfect 5th is B flat. And so we'll make B flat 7 the 5/7 and E flat the 1. So now I have to just play a B flat 7 arpeggio. this lick in E flat minor. And if I did it in E flat major, my arpeggios would be the same until I get to the E flat chord, and this will be E flat major 7. So I'll play that for you now.